Hello and welcome, I'm Austin Kopelarczyk, arranger and composer, bringing you episode 17 of my book review series. Today we'll be discussing the illustrated history of Wisconsin music. Now, if you've seen one of these before, you know I like to start this discussion off with a bit about the author. However, I could not find much about Mr. Michael G. Corenthal, the author of this book. What I was able to find, however, was quite saddening, as it was an obituary dating back to 2013. It does say in this obituary, something I'd like to share with you all is the second line, survived by friends and readers of his 9 published books, including the illustrated history of Wisconsin music. So I am glad to be able to, in some small way, carry on this legacy a bit. This book, The Illustrated History of Wisconsin Music, subtitled 1840 to 1990, 150 Years of Melodies and Memories, is no doubt a labor of love on his behalf, and wonderfully executed to boot. The book itself is split up into 3 main sections, each of which are then divided up into even further to elaborate on some famous or not so famous Wisconsinite, time period, or group. For example, the first main section, the pioneer period, features a little chapter on a man named Hans Balataka and the group he helped direct and organize in the 1850s, Milwaukee Musical Society. And this chapter, of course, led me to my most recent video before this one, so subtle plug for that there. The second section, The Golden Age, it features a chapter on Wisconsin, the state song, and its use and composition. The third, Modern Era, and modern here is about 30 years out of date, so, ends with a section titled The Progressive Rock Explosion, 1970 to present. I wouldn't recommend this as the type of book that you would sit down and read straight through. I had to change my approach initially from doing that, which admittedly didn't take me very long. If you watch the other video, it's 35 pages, to a style where I read it more in bits and took the time to digest each section in kind of independently, or follow these random little leads about important figures in Wisconsin's musical history, and it was then far easier for me to digest the book. Of course, as always, before my final opinion, if this is your first review of mine you've seen, I like to discuss availability. While I am mostly certain this book was essentially self-published, there are still numerous copies of it available through the internet, and a wide variety of prices. A simple search will turn up numerous copies that are still looking for a good home. Now, this book will very much appeal to a very select group of readers. The focus of this book is very solely on Wisconsin's musical history, often talking about amateurs and hobbyists, right alongside professionals who shook the foundations of music, and others still who just made their home in Wisconsin and sold a lot of sheet music to its residents. It's a niche topic and one that I am deeply drawn to. In my opinion, this was a fantastic read, and one that I know is going to haunt my independent research hours for quite some time, even though the book I'm currently reading terrifies me. And wants to take up my time instead. Back on track. This was an incredibly interesting read, to be completely honest. I would highly recommend it to anyone who wants to read some rather obscure history on Wisconsin, or learn about its rather surprising impacts on music in the United States. Now, if you've read the book, planning on it, or if you know some interesting fun fact about music in Wisconsin, I'd love to hear it in the comment section. As usual, there are a growing number of other book reviews on this channel, and numerous other strange videos, so feel free to check those out if you enjoyed this one. And that's all. Thanks. I'll see you next time.